Thank you everybody for coming. As I've already mentioned, don't be shy. Feel free to ask any questions as you go through, and we'll do our best to answer them. Today we're welcomed by Gus. I don't know if he needs an introduction because I'm sure lots of you already know him, but Gus works at Indeed, and I'll let him do his own introduction so that I don't butcher it. So Gus, over to you.
Hi everyone, I'm Gus Pelogia. I've been doing SEO for 12, 13 years now. Currently I work at Indeed, the job marketplace, and I've done a bit of everything in SEO really, from link building to content to keyword research, and now I work more with product teams, so I'm looking to features we need to build and things like that. A lot of SEO A/B testing, a lot of documentation and explaining things, measuring things to C levels and whatnot. But today we are here to talk about competitor analysis and SERP analysis. And we got a few websites, few people that were kind enough to put their websites forward and say, "Hey, I'm curious how you would look at this or look at that." And that's what we're going to do now. I have a little cheat sheet on the screen next to the one you see it. I've done a little bit of analysis of these websites yesterday and today, and I realized one thing. If you don't know an industry well, it's not that easy to come up with, just look at something and say, "Oh, there's loads to improve here." There were some websites in German, there's a website from Malaysia, and it's interesting to try to understand what this means or what that means. Sometimes if you know the market, like if I spot something in Ireland, you already know the players, you know how the SERPs look like, you have an idea of what to expect. And so it actually took me some digging to understand some basic things. So just take with a pinch of salt. I don't know the market that well, but I will. I'm putting my best foot forward, and so I did a little bit of analysis before we actually came in here to talk today. And shall we begin?
Yeah, you're going to do great. Gosh, that reminds me of my international SEO days where we had to deal with kind of like 90 plus languages. And I was always telling everybody, please make sure you have somebody who speaks the language before you do an audit. Because like surprisingly, I can't even I struggle with auditing, UK English websites because I don't know the players in the UK. I don't know kind of, who their competitors should be. Whereas in Ireland, I know all of that kind of stuff. So even little differences like that, it's quite surprising. Anyway, I'll hand over to you
Yeah,
and
yeah.
go for it.
So the first website that I'm gonna take a look at is rabot.energy, and I I was checking them on Dragometrics yesterday and today, and the first thing I noticed, there was only traffic since last month, and then talking with Saji, I learned that it's a migration, so they existed on a different domain, and they're just making the move now. And took me a little digging to understand what they offer and why sometimes I would find them, or sometimes I would find a lot of different other players. Um, but this is a company that sells green energy for homes and for cars as well. And yeah, just browsing a little bit. I think the first point when you get to an energy provider or a company that does a basic service like this is that maybe we don't need to exist in every single area. Like you don't need to be on all the top of funnel queries and things like that, because a lot of people, like, you're looking for a provider, right? You're not just saying, maybe if you're looking how to do something, I don't know, cook a certain recipe, you might just find a website and say, this looks good enough. You follow the recipe and you're done. Or maybe you want to learn how to calculate a percentage. You can just find the first website, that explains you how to do it. You calculate and you move on. But once you're going into like an essential service like this, you will browse a few competitors anyway. You're not going to find, oh, look, I found the first website I found that provides electricity. I'm going to go with them. You maybe browse a little bit into what are the offers, what's the pricing, is it green energy or not? I saw some of them. I think rabot.energy, you can track everything on your phone. You see how much consumption you're having every day. So, it's a place that it's a kind of industry that you just need to be around the universe. You don't need to fight for position one everywhere because people will naturally go through a few websites before they make a call. So what you see on the screen, it's one of the keywords that is interesting for them. It's dynamic electricity pricing in English, and I like to look on Dragometrics to see the SERP results. So I already have here the country and the keyword, and it will give me a snapshot of the live SERP right now. So I can see both the parsed and the raw, that you can actually see how the SERP looks like. Normally I go through VPNs to emulate this result, but it's handy just to go through any country here very quickly. And yeah, that's an interesting one. One of the competitors they mentioned is Tibber, but maybe we'll take a look at a couple of them and see potentially why they rank for this, right? It's not necessarily about links, right? Like all of the page itself only has one or two or four, so nobody's putting tons of links to these pages. And it seems there's a variety of results. Some are actual, how do you call it? Like some are just some like product pages where you can go and say, okay, I'm gonna buy from this. This is the page where I convert. And I'm guessing here by the length of these titles and the question mark, they might be long form content pages. So it's interesting to see there's a bit of a mix in here. So I don't know what's written in these pages, don't speak German, but it's not just product pages. So it's already interesting to know here that if you want to rank for this keyword, you might have two possibilities. One is I have a proper product page where you explain what is dynamic electricity pricing and how you can get the pricing and so on. But you might just go through the other side. Maybe I can have a page that explains how this is priced and why this is better than something else, or advantages, disadvantages, and so on. So every company has two opportunities to rank in here. And let's see who is on the top, and let's see their website, their page as well. Dynamic tariff. I think this is the page for it. Yes, dynamic tariff or something like that.
That's it.
And who else? Yeah.
I can give you a hand with the German if you want.
Okay. I was playing around and I saw like it's a variation of that, and some websites have a variation of the phrasing as well. So I think we are in the right direction.
Gotta have those keywords in there.
Yeah. But what I found that was interesting, and it's not necessarily about links, right? You have some high domain authority on the top, but you also have lower one, like 47. It's one of their competitors. They are the ones building links, so maybe that's how they can compensate one with another with a lower general authority. Just taking with a pinch of salt, domain authority. It's not from Google, yada yada yada. It's just a proxy for those numbers. but they are the ones that seem to be actively building links. But you could be here without a lot of links, right? So maybe a content page explaining how the tariff works. That will be a way to start building up your position. But another one would be with the page itself. And I noticed that rabot.energy doesn't have the actual certain, it's not a search box, but on these pages you can estimate how much your location, and you can start the process to find what's the tariff for you. And Rabot has on the homepage, but it doesn't have on this page. So this could be a reason why they are not here yet, but some other websites are. Perhaps the migration, I don't know what position they had before, but the migration could be moving some of that as well until Google figured out that the URLs moved from one place to another. Maybe the contents changed in between the URLs. I don't know if that's the case. The design looked the same. I checked on archive.org, but Google could be recalculating all of these differences. And I would say probably brand plays a huge role in something like this as well, right? It's, if I'm searching for, I don't know, I'm just buying clothes online, or I'm buying some little gadget, I might just go with a website that has the best price, or that, it's giving me something interesting. Maybe the only website that sells this thing. I bought recently that I'm still waiting to arrive, like a Pomodoro clocker, and like an interesting dish though with some little gadgets. But in that case, it's not a commitment, right? If the product is not too good, I'm like, bummer, it's not too good. It cost me 20 quid. It's okay. But if I'm signing up with like on an electricity provider, I'm making maybe a year or longer commitment. So I think brand plays a huge role in here. Do I trust this brand? Would something weird come up? Will they change the pricing? You kind of go with branding in a lot of these, and I think that's potentially why some of these other guys rank higher as well. I don't know this website. First time I opened was this morning. It's one of their competitors, but it looks like a established company. I don't know what to explain. I'm even looking at the name in here. It's probably like an acronym for something. So it seems to be established company. I see a lot of pricing on the page already. It's this page might be even a blend, right? It looks like a landing page, but it's actually partially an article. Like it's explaining a bit what's the dynamic tariff, gives me visuals. So maybe someone starts going through this page and stays here for a little while and don't come back to Google. That's a sign that people are satisfied, or at least it's a proxy for it. Google as the one of the documents on the DOJ, the Department of Justice, DOJ, said um, we don't know how users behave. We fake it. There's something along these lines, and this could be a proxy, right? People come to this page and they keep reading until the end, and they end up coming back and say, okay, I understand how dynamic pricing works. I'm gonna put my zip code and my address and how many people live in my house, and I'm gonna find more about tariffs, and they don't come back to Google. And now this page also looks very clean. It has a lot of information in it as well. Talks about the app. I'm guessing this is about how green the energy is and what energy you're saving. Shows how the app looks like, and maybe a combination of house and car here. So it could be something in there that are keeping people for a little longer on the other side. But all the websites look interesting. So I'm not sure if I have a big problem to point in this case, other than maybe having a combination of some of explaining what the tariff is, how it works on just the content page, and having a separate landing page could be a way to try to come from both fronts. Cool. All right. I don't know if there are any questions. I got rid of the commenting Zoom screen on that was in front of me, and it appears in front of things that I want to see. So Sarah, if there's anything you please tell me and stop me. Otherwise, I'm
I
gonna
will do.
keep rambling forever.
There isn't anything yet. So if anybody
Okay.
does have any questions, do feel free. But Zaki did say that you had a great point, Gus. So there you go.
All right. Cool. Okay, so let's go for the second website. And that's where when things start getting harder. This website is I don't even know how to explain. I already forgot. But it's a bit of like a technical medical products or drug manufacturing. And I actually had a client on this niche that they had an educational branch that were like courses that he would take all the way from free courses to masters, and they had the business side where they would measure. I think they were making machines that would measure the exact amount of drug that should be on a pill and things like that. So people, when they're being manufactured, they would have the machines that would put the right amount. So it would be perfectly made. Let's say it was something along these lines, and it was something very hard to understand. Very low in search volume on the business side. We didn't even do SEO for the business side um, because the audience was very small, and people would know them mostly by the brand. And I feel it's potentially a similar case in here. I don't remember who sent it, but they mentioned that they have lots of different competitors in different areas. And they also mentioned that each competitor is a part of the business. Let's say there's no one-to-one match. And they had a question on how do you go about doing keyword research on something like this. So it's as complicated as it sounds because lots of different competitors, um, and they might not have pages that actually explain everything as you would expect. So for some industries, you can just put a big competitor and say, they rank for so many more keywords than what I rank, that it's an open space. There's a lot to learn from them and just essentially copy a lot of the structure that they have. But if you get in a space like this where everyone is small in terms of search, then it's much harder to find something. So I have only two suggestions for them. The first one is on how do you name some of the products if search is something that you want to keep in consideration. As I was going through the keywords, Star Drop showed up on something that they rank high. So I thought, okay, let's see what Star Drop is. And there's a quite a big mix in here. Star Drops is something inside a game, and the second result seems to be very similar as well. I don't know what kind of game this is, but it's a game, and they just happen to have a product that has exactly the same name. Now, if people, if they are expecting potential customers to search for Star Drop, and they will go through these different results. Now, it's not a huge problem. You're not competing with them, but you'll potentially will have a struggle to be the very first result. Some people might click through wrong links before, and the search volume that you're going to see here, it will be very hard to say, oh, this is happening because of something we are doing. Because maybe Stardrop released a new version or a new something on a game, and suddenly there's a surge on searches, but those people are not interested in you, they're interested in the game. And you can't really prove, as let's say if you are an agency or if you work in-house, you can say, look, we did this roadshow event or we did something offline and more people are searching for a Stardrop now. Well, maybe they're searching for the game. They're, people that are completely unrelated to your audience. They're not interested in your product at all, but that volume will grow and they might end up clicking on your website. And so that traffic will be just completely irrelevant. So there might be something to keep in mind. And I saw something else that I did find interesting. It might be useful for Optibrium, hopefully I pronounced it correctly, to to go a bit more open into the topics they cover and have maybe some top of funnel content in there or like some more ways to explain what they do, because I'm assuming if you're doing SEO or expecting people that don't know your brand to come and find you, if they already knew, everyone already knows your brand, they're gonna go straight to your website. They don't necessarily need a ton of SEO. But I saw they're doing they're doing a webinar just like us, and I'm assuming here the plan is to educate part of your audience about what you do about molecular docking. I have no idea what that is. But I assume that you produce a solution for or that includes molecular docking. And I thought this is potentially a keyword, right? And let's see, that is the case. There is some search volume in US, maybe in other countries as well, for molecular docking. So an average of 720 searches per month. And you also get molecular docking software, programs, softwares with an S as well, molecular docking, a simulation. So this might be one of the products that you have. I'm assuming yes. So let's roll as if this is you sell the software that does this. Those are keywords that you want to be part of. You want to rank for these. You might not rank on the number one results, but if this is important to you, then you should have a page that is just about the product. I see pages about solutions. I didn't find straight away a page that is, here's molecular docking software. It might be somewhere in here, but I didn't find straight away, and I didn't find in the top results. These, some moderate competition. I see some results here that are explaining about the concept and, more top of funnel, what is molecular docking. So there are two ways for you to be in here. Maybe the webinar will teach people live, but this webinar, once they the education happen somewhere else. So maybe after the event happens, you have a blog post explaining what that is, and the video is part of it. So this way you can get some of those rankings and appear when people are searching for the products that you offer. We can take a look at the molecular docking software as well to see what kind of results rank in here. And I'm interested in seeing, are there just articles or are there actual software pages that are ranking? So there seems to be a bit of a mix. The top results, Reddit, even here it's Reddit. Wow. But here we go. Let's see. We have Reddit, which not sure if it's the best place, but it's in here. You have some other papers that are explaining what that is. It's interesting because the search is for software, but you're still getting papers. You're not necessarily getting softwares in here. Now you have some of them, but they don't rank on the very top. So it's interesting. I would expect to see at least listicles type of pages, but there's still a mix in here. So this is another case where maybe if this is important to you, you should have a page explaining the software. And I'm assuming again here that they sell the software, and a separate page about explaining what that is, what it does, a more detailed page, and they can link to each other. That's fine. You might not get that full audience or that lead from the article, but people will start, the audience might start considering you as like, oh, they also have a software. This is something that has a very long conversion window, right? No company says, well, I think I'm gonna buy today a molecular docking software and makes a conversion the same day. They probably talk with reps and they understand pricing and they have training and a lot of things happen in this period. So this could be a way to become top of mind, even if the conversion is not gonna happen from this page. It's about being there while people are still in that consideration phase. I hope this is useful. And let's go to the third one. Any questions yet? Sarah, do you want to add anything to any of this?
I think you're doing really well. We don't have any questions yet.
All
So
right, cool.
let's keep going.
All right. Okay, so my third website, the third website that filled the form for us, it's somewhere something that I'm a bit more familiar with, so it's easier to picture the user journey in here. It's a website called BuzzBud, and it's a place where you can find tickets for any buses and kind of around the world, buses and trains. So, and they put Omeo and the train line as competitors. I see train line everywhere. Every time I'm looking for a train from Gatwick to Brighton, they show up. So that's how I got to know the competitor. I did find interesting from BuzzBud, and I saw some competitors as well, that the homepage, it's not just the product page, but it does have quite a bit of copy, right? So you have on top here where you want to get the bus from and to, the dates, and you can do your search. But further down, you start talking about it becomes a long form content page. So how do you get the how do you book uh, how do you get the cheap bus ticket, and you have all the list of popular bus routes and airports. So they're trying to build all of these connections. Where do people take the bus from into maybe airports, a destination, maybe certain parts or certain locations inside the city might be a destination as well. And this is a perfect place to build programmatic pages if you have that to offer, right? If you allow people to buy a bus from New York to Washington, then it makes sense to have this page, and that's what you're doing here. You have tons of different options, so it's an aggregator of buses. Correct me if you're watching, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm making lots of assumptions here because I'm just learning about the brands over the last few days. But it's an interesting format, and they keep having the article here at the end. The article. So one thing that comes to mind, and I've seen this in some of the competitors as well. They all have this. It's not even the footer, but they have all this lists of links about the companies, destinations, and so on. Maybe this is something you want to rotate based on what is trending right now. So do you need to increase your sales? Maybe, I don't know, more. There are higher demand from New York to Washington during Christmas time, or there's a higher demand to certain places, or maybe there's more money to be made. The demand is not that high, but um, you could make more money for whatever reason on a certain route. Maybe you want to put those in here um, closer to the time when the demand is. So maybe you give it like a month before or 2 months. You know when your audience starts buying those tickets, and you want to boost those pages around that time, right? It's like if you're ranking for Black Friday keywords from January to September, it doesn't really matter. Maybe October people start looking. In November, it's when the event really happens. So you really, really only need to rank at that time. So if you can use that internal linking to boost those pages at the right time, you're gonna have a higher benefit in there. And I've seen the same strategy for all of the competitors as well. And let's see what I find, if there's anything more interesting. I would definitely test everything you can on programmatic titles. So I see different companies doing this here with pricing, dates, even let's see, compare bus prices. I saw it's one of the keywords that they rank for, and look at how the titles vary, right? Sometimes you rank with the homepage, sometimes you rank with a specific page that is connecting destinations. But in some cases, you have the cheapest bus tickets from $1. Some others are just saying you book cheap tickets online. There's a big variation in here on what are they showing. Sometimes showing a misleading price might work, sometimes not. Sure, it's from $1. Is this line offering something for $1 right now? Maybe people click and say, "Oh, I thought it would be $1," and then they leave and go to the second website when they find a reasonable price that they expect to actually find on the website. That could be something to test, or maybe you don't want to have pricing at all because people don't click. They already, oh no, I found one that is cheaper. I'm going to try that one first. So especially because you have so many programmatic pages in here, every place that your buses will pass through and people can buy a ticket, that though every 2 cities are a potential page for you to have. I wouldn't just blast all of them at once. Start building them and release in batches and see if there's demand. Maybe search volume says there's not, but people are still searching for it. So it's something interesting to test. Is the search volume actually matching user behavior? Because sometimes the volume is small and tools will not really catch. There were 30 searches this month. Like, well, maybe not that much. But if nobody else is competing and you're getting all those sales, then you might be making more money from that too, versus something else and you rank on position 10, you only get 1% of the clicks. So I think there are a lot of different things that could be played here as well, especially because it is such a programmatic website, right? It's people need specific lines, and if they're Googling, they don't necessarily know which company they want to use, or not even which company actually goes from point A to point B. And so I think there are a lot of things that can be played with here. And I would also try, yes, go ahead.
I was going to say we have a couple of questions, so I was wondering if you want to answer them now or just finish what you're saying.
Yeah, I'll just finish this one. But yeah, it's essentially this. Like, there's a lot of testing that you can do with different names and locations and pricing. And I know this seems to be working. I've seen 3 or 4 competitors on top 3 results for different top level keywords that have copy on the top. I would test removing, see if anything changes. If it changes and it's not good, put it back. Um, but they might, people might just be copying each other because it's working for someone. But that's it. I'm a big fan of testing, and this is an easy test to do. Remove the text for 1 or 2 weeks, see if something changes. If it's good, then, or if maybe nothing changes, and you're like, maybe I don't need to keep maintaining all this text in here, or maybe I do. So test. Yes, Sarah, bring the questions on, please.
Okay, here we go. So we got a question from Maham. I hope I pronounced your name right. Does having that many links on the homepage to those programmatic pages dilute the link equity going to those pages?
I think it's a good question. I try to think more of how the user will behave and how the industry behaves. If everyone is putting those links, they might not be good, but because everyone is doing, if they're diluting, everyone is losing. So then there's still same level situation. Um, I think it's all about testing. So I would maybe have fewer links and rotate them every month, or you want to test maybe, you add links to some new routes and you keep tracking how were they performing before you added, and 1, 2, 3 months down the line and see, are these ones going up? There's probably, a limit in there. At some point, Google might not be looking at them too much. But if you have thousands of pages like this, you need to find ways to, distribute that equity. So I think if you put 200 links there, Google will ignore them and users will just say, ugh, and give up. So it's about finding the right amount.
Amazing. And we've got another one. Isn't it better to have a separate page when it comes to compare bus prices? Because the intention for this query is sort of getting the cheapest ticket as shown in the SERP also.
Yes, and they do have pages for every 2 locations. But in some cases, for the homepage, they just happen to be ranking with something more generic. So if you're just looking for cheap bus prices, which is very top level search, I'm guessing people would later realize, oh, I need to put a location and start filtering that. But it does have some good volume, compare bus prices, cheap coaches, bus ticket comparison. I think the homepage is a good place to have the generic view, and you need to have the specific pages that where you can display all the potential routes you can offer.
Amazing. And that is all the questions that we have. So we can move on. Thank you for asking the questions, everybody.
All right, cool. So we have one more website that was sent to us ahead of time, and it's a website about bras. So let's get to it. I also did some analysis over here, and I was watching not long ago a talk from Carrie Rose from Rise at 7. It wasn't about bras, I don't remember. It was fashion related, but I'm not sure if it's applicable here. I did some research and I couldn't find the exact matches, but they do a lot of this research where they see like did something become popular on TikTok, or did something was on a TV show last night, and then you see the search demand happening on TikTok, and from TikTok people will go to Google to make that conversion, and they would create pages for those things. So she had an example about pink bras, or sorry, pink leggings. And it's like, hey, someone was using pink leggings on a dating show, and then suddenly this surge was there. Now, she has clients that have pink leggings, but they don't necessarily have a page for just pink leggings or airport outfits, or those trends that emerge in different places, and they might last for 1-2 months and disappear, and people will go into the next wave of things. But the products they have do match that, right? So maybe there's something that became trendy on bras, and it's not a traditional category. It's not about the size or the style, but it is popular just for a certain period. I don't know, a gym outfit for something, or someone was on a TV show, and you could use the items that you already have to create a page just about that trend, which I find it fascinating, right? Because the products are already there. There's nothing new in terms of they didn't make a new sports bra just for this, but you can get all the collection of sports bras that you have that match this style and create a page that is about that as well. So that's one point. And my second point was about sometimes how there's a difference between what you're trying to optimize for and what you're reaching. So let's see, it was this category on sleep. So I was just playing with the keywords in here. They gave us lots of competitors, and this is one of them. So I can see on this website, I'm just looking at the not on page. Sorry, I am looking for the page title. So the page title is women's sleepwear, alluring, suiting lingerie, and the brand name. But look at what they're ranking for. They're ranking for nightwear dresses for ladies. They're ranking for sleepwear lingerie, sleeping dresses for women, and the page title doesn't really say that. It says women in sleepwear, but nightwear is slightly different. Lingerie, it's not on the title. It could be on the title as well. Or maybe you want to try to have a separate page if there's a demand for this product. And so maybe, one sleepwear is a lingerie. It can be in a lingerie category, or it might be in a separate one. But anyway, even though it's not optimized for it, maybe the products inside that are on this page now are bringing some of those keywords, and they end up ranking well for it. But let's say nightwear. Let's see where does it say nightwear in here. Okay, so it says in a couple of pages about specific products. But what if we have here 1, 2 on the list? What if for whatever reason the logic of what products appear on the front page change, and the nightwear options are not here anymore? Maybe because there are new products that became more popular, or something happened, these are not here. You're going to lose those rankings without even noticing, because those pages weren't really optimized for it. You just happened to hit a keyword because the products are here right now. But if in a month from now you say, someone decided that this is not called nightwear anymore, this is called something else, you're going to lose those rankings, even though they weren't, you just hit them by mistake. So there's a chance you might lose it. So what I would go here is to see if I do not rank for something, can I create a subcategory if I have the products that do match that? Of course, there might be more opportunities to keep growing with essentially the same stock of products. I hope this was at least a little bit useful from their front as well. Wow, I talked for almost an hour. That's a lot of talking.
You did good. I'm going to have to make you talk a little more because we got one question, and it says, I've missed how that person was tracking trends on TikTok. Could you repeat that, please?
Yes. So that is Rise at 7, the agency, and I saw Kerry Rose, the CEO, speaking at a conference in Belfast in the UK a few weeks ago, like late in September. So the idea is, and I'm paraphrasing here, so it might not be exactly how she explained, but that's the trend. So let's say there's a new, I don't know, Love Island season happening this month, and there's a couple that everybody loves. I never watched the show, so I don't know how it works, but there's a couple that everybody loves that is, we have fans that became trendy on TikTok, and they went on a date night, or they had a competition, or something happened, and she was using a mini purple bra. And on suddenly there are more people searching for it. Like, oh, how do we get this fancy bra that we haven't seen before that became a internet hit on TikTok? Maybe your brand already has a product that looks like that. You just didn't put a name on it. You just called, it's on your list of bras or bikinis or whatever. You would keep tracking of how are people searching for these things on TikTok, or they would see, are there more videos happening about this or that? So you can just rename a product to match that, or if you have several products that match that need, you're just going to create a category page that it will include that name as well. Now, the products that you have, maybe some of these bras or bikinis, they already exist in different categories, and that's fine. But if they match the description of this one, then you could have a category page that matches that search as well. I hope that all makes sense. Like you still have the same products that you would have on the website. You're just matching to how people are searching for it right now.
Amazing. Does anybody have any
Cool.
questions before we finish up? I can't see anything coming in, so maybe don't be shy. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Gus, and for doing that. I think it was really, really interesting, and I hope that the website owners got lots out of it, because like loads of interesting tips. So yeah, for everybody who is here and everybody who's on the recording, if you have any questions, I'm sure you can reach out to Gus. Gus, where's the best place to reach you?
Probably LinkedIn, and that's the only SEO social place that I hang on these days. Maybe you want to read something on my website, that is guspelogia.com. I mostly talk about SEO and products and talking to stakeholders, selling SEO to C-levels, and the people that make the big decisions. So it's not really SEO tactics, execution heavy, but there might be something interesting there for you as well.
Amazing. Well, look, thanks so much. And yeah, I'll keep everybody in touch when we're doing the next one, which will be in November. And yeah, thank you and bye.
All right. Thank you for having me. Have a great Monday, everyone. See ya.
Bye.